Thanks to all our active patrons who have contributed a lifetime of $100 or more to reach Garuk Dong level status.
Here is the list of those special patrons in order of contributions.
If you would like to support our show, check out the Commander Smiths at patreon.com. Oh, welcome to the Commander Smiths.
We are the Commander Smiths.
I'm Adam Smith.
And I'm Lowry Smith.
Don't worry.
We're cousins.
They heard it on the intro, cracking the beer, except it wasn't you, because you're not drinking this episode.
No, I'm going to be skipping this week and next week for the drinking. I don't think it's big health concerns or anything, but went to the doctor and I got to talk about my liver a little bit. I think it's been damaged for a decade at this point, but I just want to confirm it, and so I'm just gonna wait.
I guess the thing is did you tell them that you drink Malort on a regular basis? I mean, that could be
no, that's not what we just didn't have the discussion yet. Oh, they were just like. Back in July with the gout thing, they did a blood draw, and I hadn't had that happen since I fell off a roof, which was like 11, 12 years ago at this point. But they basically were like, yeah, you have liver damage. How much do you drink? And I was like, only on Mondays podcast. Like, you should consider not drinking that much, because it's I 5 drinks, and they were just like, could you get that down to 2 or 3? And I was like, no, I don't want to. They're like, you should consider it. And then so you think about it a little bit, and you're like, maybe I'll hold off just so that I can have the conversation. Like, if I have another drink, it's not going to kill me if they're just saying back off on it.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta figure it out. So right. I'm just gonna
just take
not
it
drink
easy.
until I get.
No Malort shots or no beer for Lowry. It would be funny though if you, not funny, but if you were like, I drink Malort, and like, well, fuck, that is the reason.
That's the problem.
We get all these cases coming in lately of people with their liver and damage and shit, and it's from Malort. It's all that shit in Malort. So, but I am drinking.
That'd be impressive.
It's Henpeck's Fruit Wheat Ale. It has like a nice little hen on there.
No, that's not a nice. That's a murderous chicken.
Touche. This
right.
This is a lupulin beer. I didn't realize that. I just went. The thing is, I realized is if you do a cool little design on a can for the beers, you're gonna catch my attention. And I'm sure it does that to a bunch of people. Is like if it looks funky or whatever unique on the front, I'm like, let's try that. And this one sounded pretty good. So it's actually pretty good.
You definitely judge books by their cover.
Yes. So, like I said, Lowry's not taking Malort, but there is a modified Malort. If people, this is your time, Ibukaki, you're on right now. If you want to make me suffer, you can buy me a shot, just me. Because we don't ever do that. We have, I think that the only time we do that is on Commander games, potentially. People can buy one of us a shot, but this is the only time that I can't remember the last time that's happened. So, so if you guys wanted to, you can buy me shots for the next couple weeks. So, okay, episode 295. Well, God, chat is just going crazy right now. I'm not even able to like watch about this one here. So what do we have in store for this week's episode, Lowry? What are we doing tonight?
You're
going to lose at Stump the Smith Savant because you're not drinking. That's just saying.
Awesome. That's also true. So Stump the Smith Savant, apparently very hard. Just the way I like it. Wink. And then we have Staple Versus. Adam's going to be Mental Misstep, and I am going to be Spellstutter Sprite.
Boo.
I have a feeling I know how this is going to go.
This one's interesting because like, I don't have there wasn't like a lot of arguments. We'll see what happens when we get there. I mean, it depends. Right. It depends on where my head is. Did you say what the main? And then the main. Okay, there we go. I was like,
main segment is going to be house rules. Adam has a big old list of stuff, and that's good. And that's good this time because I came out with like 2, and they were what they are what started this. I was hoping like months ago. I was like, hey, we should do a segment on house rules. Oh, that's a good idea. And I was like, I got a couple. That hasn't changed. I still have a couple. It's the same couple, and I apologize. Just nothing else came to me.
It's the same thought from a couple months ago, and you're just like, well, I had the idea, and now it's just still there. Well, yeah, this should be good. We're gonna go through kind of what we do for our group, or what we do for when we play in the Discord. And then we got a bunch of suggestions from Discord. We had
also true.
Some other suggestions. I kind of looked up some other things, like what other people are doing. And so that's why I got a huge list. It wasn't stuff I came up with at the top of my head, because that would be impressive. But I went and checked in to see what other Commander house rules people play. So, yeah, we got a big list there. I don't know. We were going to add another segment, but I think the way we talk and stuff, and although you're not drinking, so it could be a regular episode. I don't think it's a 2-hour episode, because if you get Lowry,
I don't think it's a 2-hour episode either.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think this is going to work out. So
I can catch the social cues when you're like, hey, let's move on, Lowry, without saying it. So,
but the thing is, the X factor is you're going to probably
like Twitter.
Yeah, that's what I was doing there. You're going to probably have a little more a difficult time with the Stump the Smith Savant, because you don't have the love juice in you, and so or brain juice. I don't know why I said love juice.
Yeah,
I mean that's what happens. Is that
I think Malort needs to listen to Too Much Do here, Bill from Woodbury, saying non-alcoholic Malort. They need to get a non-alcoholic Malort.
Why?
All of the bitterness, none of the alcohol. It's the O'Douls of Malort. That's what you need.
Who would buy? I mean, first of all, who would buy Malort in the first place? But the only reason is it has booze in it. But then why would you buy something where it's like, well, I'm not going to get drunk off of drinking. I can keep drinking this.
Malort is absolutely the friendship test type thing. Like when a friend comes up to you and goes, hey, smell this, you don't question it, you just smell it because you're a guy. And if somebody's like, hey, take this shot with me, it's awful, every friend is going to be like, all right, let's do this. And so Malort is that level of thing, in my opinion, at least. So, and it's an instant bond with anybody else that's already had it.
So it's kind of like smoking, because that was like an instant bond. When I used to smoke cigarettes way back in the day, it's like you get this instant bond. You're out all smoking together. Is that kind of the same thing you're saying? Malort does that similar? I don't know.
Maybe
it was a bad analogy.
Maybe I didn't really smoke, so I don't know. No, I mean, if you think it was okay,
no, I don't. I'm calling myself out on saying it was bad.
Sorry,
thank you. That was very appropriate. Okay, so yeah, we got all that stuff. I don't know. Do we want to talk about anything? Oh, you had a little Lowry birthday this weekend. That was
a good point.
That was fun. It was windy as shit and lots of bees, but it was windy. It was a lot of fun.
Lots of bees, or I guess hornets or whatever. But yeah, little Low's turning 6 already, which is wild.
Oh, good for you.
He made it that far. Yeah, good for me. Yeah. So we, playground. We had Pokemon themed, I guess. We set up what is it called?
Are you talking about
search party
treasure
for
hunt?
Pokemon thing?
Treasure hunt?
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
search
just
party.
Same thing, just different.
There's a missing kid.
Attitude.
We're gonna do a search party. We're missing a kid
for something. But yeah, and then all the kids had a really good time, finding Pikachu and Charizard and stuff all over the playground. The wind blew it all away by the end of the time. A lot of kids from his class showed up, so we got to meet some parents and stuff like that. So it was a good time. Happy birthday, little Lowry. If you ever listen to this, hopefully 20 years from now, maybe that's still around.
And Ibukaki is bitter. Well, Ibukaki,
go
grow a kid. Then you can be invited. It's people with
No,
kids.
That's just his saying. Thanks for the invite. That's he says it every time.
He gets invited
every time we do something.
Yeah. He's going to say thanks for the invite, and he's actually coming to something for once.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I found that out. All right. Okay. Yeah. Now you're moving us on. You're sober. What is going on here?
I don't like this.
Okay. So yeah, I guess should we just get into tags, because there isn't really much more we have to talk about. Like there wasn't. I was with you. You were with me.
You gave me a pack, and I was
yeah.
supposed to open it on air, and then I just got real excited, and
as soon
I
as you
just
got
opened it.
You started cracking. I was like, well, we'll just that doesn't need to be on air. You got you got some good cards in there. You got the Beanstalk one, which was on.
I got the Beanstalk one, yeah, and then Black Rare and Sanguine Bond.
Yep. Oh yeah, Sanguine Bond, and then you got that rare. Was it the one where it's the
Spectre of Mortality? 3/3 flying. Whenever ETBs, you may exile 1 or more creature cards from your graveyard. When you do, each other creature gets -X until an end of turn, where X is the number of cards exiled this way.
So you can. It's kind of like a little board wipe thingy, but it can't be worth.
That's kind of cool.
That much.
No, I don't think so.
The other two are good. So, all right. So, no more set packs is what Scott is saying here.
Well, that's a good point.
We can mention that. So, do you want to break that news? What is it? The number 2 is kind of posted.
I only know whatever number 2 said, but not actually posted. So they are going to get rid of draft boosters and set boosters, and they're going to go to play boosters and collectors.
Yeah.
So they're going to have 2 different types of packs instead of 3. And the play boosters, I believe, are what they're using for draft moving forward.
I think so.
There are potentials for multiple rares in that. It seems like it's a mixture of draft and set boosters. And
I think it's a good call. Like, it just seemed like a waste. Like draft was. I mean, I guess it was just for draft, but it was terrible. Like, I was like, why would you buy that? And I mean, even. I will say this too, is set, we haven't hit anything really good in that either, but at least there was a chance to get something that was more expensive. But draft just seemed completely pointless. So yeah, I'm kind of glad we're just down to the 2 different kinds of packs instead of.
Agreed. And it does sound like the list is going to be like shortened up. Kind of like we had that discussion. I was like, God, I wish they didn't have so many cards in here that are pointless.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if they're getting rid of the pointless cards, but they're shortening up the list when they're printing them.
See, yeah, I would prefer it to be like the list and actually have cards, everything in there $5 and up or something, like, but then make it so that it's harder to get the list cards, don't make it as frequent in the pack. So, I mean, I much rather get that than just being like, oh, what the hell? Oh, we got a pledged new patron. All right. Esteban. Oh wait, shit. I'm supposed to take a shot. You're not taking a shot. You.
Well, I mean, like I can do. No, you can. Go ahead.
Actually.
Well, how about this?
Wait. Hopefully no one buys a Malort because I don't have my shot glass down there. Because we did take a Malort last week. Oh yeah, it's right.
Did.
I can see it down there.
You can.
Oh, shit. Okay.
You can just take a shot. You don't have to wash your shot glasses.
Oh. What?
I wash my. Yeah. What do you mean? I have it. It's alcohol. It cleans it instantly.
All the dust then sticks to that alcohol, and you just get this layer of dust and gross alcohol, and then you layer on top of that. It's like a alcohol sandwich. Then each week you just get a new one. I want to see. You should go a whole year without washing your Malort shot glass. And then we should we should dissect it and see how many layers of.
There's no layers. You just, I still haven't washed my mug that we got back in SmithCon.
Come
It's
on.
been beer after beer after
Come
beer.
on. Are you serious?
Who cares? You look in there, there's no mold.
You're a monster.
And it's good to go.
You're a monster. All right. Let me grab the little shot glass.
Monster?
You're a monster. Esteban is on. Thank you, buddy. Well, you're going to get this right now because you became a patron right now, but you're also going to get it next week. And let me just hit the button while I go get that little shot there.
Welcome to a meat forest.
That sounds like a fairy tale of a meat forest.
Thank you so much.
Oh, it's a Tennessee honey. All right. That's not going to be too bad. I got a Tennessee
How about
honey.
this? I'll eat some
a jelly
beans.
bean. There we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
We all right with that?
Yeah. Let's do a 2 bean on that one. So, okay. If you become a patron while we're live, we will do shots, a regular shot for that. Malorts are still, you gotta Malort us. Like, we're not giving freebies, and rare occasions we do that, but those are not worth it. Flick the bean. All right. Cheers. Thanks, Esteban, for becoming a patron. And here we go.
Thanks so much.
Mm.
Oh, that's gross.
What is the alcohol? Well, 35%. That's not too bad. All right. Where were we? Let's get to the tags. Let's get this. Oh, yeah, we're at that 16, 17-minute mark. That's normally when we get the tags. Oh, there we go. All right. So you could become a patron and support the Commanders, or you can support the Commander Smiths by becoming a patron, just like our buddy here, Esteban, by donating $1 or more. That gets you into the Discord. $5 or more gets you proxies each month if you so choose. If you move up on the tiers, you can get the foil proxies like this little guy right here. That's going to be the first 3 weeks of Stump the Smith Savant if Lowry makes it that long. But this is a Sarah Ascendant Wombo art that it designed. There we go. In foil. So the higher you move on the tiers, you could get those each month if you so choose. That is a financial way to support us. The other financial way is to donate on the live podcast, the live stuff like we're doing right here. You can do beans, donate for beans, which is like $1. That's what Lowry just took. Or you can do Malort or regular shots. Those are a little bit higher tiered because Malort sucks. If his liver makes it through this, we have maybe a modification to that coming up, but we got to see what happens here. I'm hoping that I'm not the only one having to take Malort all the time. And see the shirt, you got the shirts here. Got Malort. Yeah. So those
two bad beans.
What were they? What were they?
It's starting to get, I think all of like the sticky ones are starting to mix together.
So just bad. Just bad.
Yeah. I think it was, the first one was rotten egg, which is brutal.
Yeah.
And then the second one was either booger or stinky socks. So not enjoyable either way.
But thank you for coming to Patreon. That is the bonus of if you do it when we're live. We'll do it live. We'll do the things, the fun stuff live. So, yeah. So that is the. Oh wait, yeah. You can make us take a Malort shot if you became a $15 patron live. That's how you hit the Malort shot. So, anyways, 15 or higher. The other financial way to support the show and free way for you is just subscribe to the channel. Just subscribe to YouTube. That helps us out. And if you can, watch our stuff on YouTube. So if you have a choice of listening to us on MP3, whatever your podcast desire is, if you have the opportunity to, watch us on YouTube because that helps us out even just pennies. Not even pennies. It's like fractions of pennies, but it does help us out. So it's kind of financially helping us out as well. Yeah. And that helps the whole podcast and everything grow. But there's a crap ton of stuff that we do on YouTube. Last week we had, you had goldfish. So you were goldfishing your Hilda deck, right? You did that last week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
You're like, did I?
And we played.
Yes. And then we had a commander game. We played one game. This is a rare occasion that we did one, but that first one went an hour and a half. So we got one game in and that was fun. No spoilers, but I was playing my life gain, Mr. Will, and there was a lot of angels and a lot of soldiers out there, and it was.
I got to draw 40 cards.
Yeah, you did. That was pretty sweet.
And had a shot.
Yeah, you did.
Had a shot.
But it was a good game. Actually, everybody was doing some stuff, so that's a good game in my book.
Yeah.
What do you do that little thing for?
I didn't. I just had my.
Oh, I guess. Yeah. It was hard for your deck because there was lots of tokens and lots of creatures and to tap down everything. But you never had that opportunity until you drew the 40 cards, which was fantastic. Like if you get a chance, watch turn 7. Yes, turn 7 is when Lowry hits everything happens. Like everything happens in turn 7 and the game's over by turn 8. So I have it chaptered out for you. So if you want to check out that video, it's... And then he just subscribed. Okay. He wasn't subscribed. I was like, what's happening here? He got a double whammy there. Okay. So we had that. We had curated MTG of that twice a week. What was your curated MTG? If you remember, if you don't remember, what's yours?
Good question. That's a real good question. I did do it on Friday. Oh, there we go. Ankh of Mishra.
Ankh of Mishra.
It's one.
Which one is
it's
that?
the one that I love. It's the.
I mean, I watched the video, and so I'm just trying to.
Son of a gun. But it's whenever a land comes into play, that person has dealt 2 damage. It's a 2 mana artifact. I love the card. It's just an artifact version
that
of
guy.
Zozu the Punisher.
Yep.
And so it was in Rowan. It was in play during our gameplay of it 2 or 3
That's
weeks
what
ago at this
the
point.
cross thingy, right?
I mean, it's an Ankh.
The cross thingy? I don't
Get
know.
your religion stuff right.
Oh, because
all right?
me and religion, you know how that goes.
You should know. You should know what you don't like instead of just blindly not knowing. All right.
I should learn it all.
Right.
You know, the thing is I tell everybody that they need to listen, and especially on the shorts, and then like it. You know, that's the biggest thing. I need to do the same when I'm editing the thing. What I should do, I'm going to do this from now on. I'm going to play it and see if I can edit everything before you're done with the whole video. That's going to be my little, I don't know. That's nothing I really needed to share with you or anybody else. Like, that's, who cares?
You didn't. Yeah, that was an internal.
It's kind of like.
Give me a second. There we go.
Thank you. It's kind of like the boys when I'm trying to get them to do something. It's like, how about I time you? For some reason, that is what is the deal breaker. And then they go running down and finish things. And it's like, oh, you beat your record, 22 seconds. Like, I'm going to write it down in the record books now. I don't know. It's stupid. I don't say all that.
That works.
Stuff, but it does work. Anyways, okay, so Curated MTG, it's not only on YouTube, it's also on TikTok. So we are there as well. So if you want to follow us there, biggest thing with those.
There should be one tomorrow as well.
There we go. You just don't
Tuesday.
know do you know which one that's going to be?
No.
Okay. This week is, I don't know if you're planning on it. We didn't have this discussion beforehand because there was some Zoom issues. But are you doing any videos? It's kind of a vacation week for us Minnesotans because it's MEA. Kids are off of school. So we were going to try to get a game in tomorrow, but it's not working out and I'm heading out of town. So I don't know. Were you planning on doing a spotlight or anything?
No spotlights or gold fishing. Gold fishing might be random.
Okay.
But I want to open up the Doctor Who decks.
Okay. Yeah, mine.
I'll record that, and if anybody wants to join me, I might do that Thursday night.
Okay.
Yeah, Thursday night. I'll just open them up if you want to join me, talk through some cards, and just look at them. That would be enjoyable. And I'll crack the collector's partials.
Yep, the collector shots. I don't know what you want to call them.
Yeah,
samplers.
Just that 4th or 5th different type of pack you can get.
I got some good cards out of that. It was I got one foil, the Carpet of Flowers. Oh, good for
That's
you.
dope.
Welcome to
Oh wait,
that's real
I'm
cool.
on the wrong button there. There we go.
Oh, good.
And
for
then
you.
everything else is just full art. I think the yeah, there wasn't anything else worth much in there, but there's some decent stuff. I like this card that I think it was Discord, wasn't it RoboCop that mentioned this one? Everything comes to dust. That one right there.
Yep.
It is an interesting one. I did get that in the full art, the flart there, not foil though, just full art. Cool story, bro. Okay. You want to hit it again, don't you? Okay, so that is the way to support the Commander Service. Just make sure you guys subscribe. And then you can also follow us on Twitter, X. Do it, Lowry. X. We do post our stuff.
How do you?
We do post our stuff there. We are going to be changing some things up there pretty soon in the coming weeks, months here. We're going to be doing some expansion there. But you can direct message us there, or you can direct message us by shooting us an email at commandersmiths@gmail.com. Do you want to get into Stump the Smith Savant like we used to do? Like, and then just for this. That thing, you know?
Yeah, might as well. It's not. I'm not going to change.
Yeah, you're not
states
gonna...
at this point.
All right, and
Let's do this.
that is where you can send the suggestions for this. It's time for everyone's favorite game show.
I know what it is. I just don't know the name.
Oh, right. So this is where we used to have this spot for a while there, but then we decided that it was better to get Lowry a little lubed up before we got to this segment. But Lowry doesn't need any lube today. He's as lubed as he's gonna be. So if you guys don't know how this game works, I'm gonna read the flavor text of a card, and Lowry is gonna try to guess the card by asking yes or no questions. Every yes, he'll hear this.
Hello, boobies.
Every no, he'll hear this.
Wrong, 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 wrong.
He will get up to 5 wrong guesses before he's considered stumped. He gets 3 clues. If he can get everything about the card but can't get what the card name is, he will get the initials. If he has a clue left over, he will get a bonus clue that should help give it away. The card needs to be in at least 10,000 EDH rec decks. You can send your suggestions to me either on Discord, if you're a part of our Discord, just direct message me there, or you can shoot us an email. Lowry won't check that, so you should be good as well. And if it has already been chosen, I will let you know, and then you can choose something different. This week, it's a buddy, Ted. Ted is going to try to stump Lowry. Like I mentioned before, the card, I can't reach it. The card that is up for grabs for the first 3 weeks is Sarah Ascendant in foil proxy here.
Gorgeous.
And if Lowry doesn't get stumped for 3 weeks, we will add a card to the ante. The next one won't be a proxy. We just start off the first 3 weeks that way. This is round 24. So Lowry, your current record is 70-24. The last time you lost, besides this time, you lost then 3 consecutive. So let's see if you can not do that again.
Great. Thanks.
I have eliminated the chat. So chat, you guys can see each other guessing here. Lowry cannot see that. Here we go. And I will show the flavor text here so Lowry can try to get or read that. And chat, you can see it as well. All right. From dust and light, she coaxed forth an uncorrupted world. All right, let me try that again. From dust and light, she coaxed forth an uncorrupted world. By I missed what? By her. I was like, is that there? I should be reading the card instead of reading what I have there.
Give me a
what
second.
am I doing? Hang on, I'm pulling up because I have like the font and everything in there, and it's like, wait, is that a THERE? Did I spell it wrong? What is going on here? By her grace we dwell here, free from suffering. Song of All, Canto 11. I'll read it again here. Give me a second. I'm gonna pull the actual card up so
right.
I can.
Hold on. I think I got it. Is it worship?
Wrong.
I'm in that area though. All right, this
I'm
is
gonna read it really quick just for those people
right.
listening. From dust and light, she coaxed forth an uncorrupted world. By her grace we dwell here, free from suffering. Song of All, Canto 11. Canto, I think. Canto 11.
Okay. So I am pretty sure they are talking about Sarah. And so this also makes me feel like it's being placed in like Urza's block, like Urza's Saga. Maybe it could be. I definitely feel like it's a white card. And so though that's where I'm at. I don't feel like I'm super out of the game here. But there's also the potential that there's like callbacks, like Masters sets that make up cards that are doing something like this too. I still think it's a white card. So let's go with that. Is this color identity white in there?
Wrong.
It's too wrong.
We don't even have the first clue. Oh, snap. Somebody's in trouble.
All right, I'll take that first clue then.
The art features an armored woman above the clouds surrounded by floating rocks and feathers. The art features an armored woman above the clouds surrounded by floating rocks and feathers.
One more time.
The art features an armored woman above the clouds surrounded by floating rocks and feathers.
Every time we get to that point, I'm like, how is this not white? And I'm yelling it at you in my head. So like I lose concentration. Okay. From dust and light, she coaxed forth an uncorrupted world. By her grace, we dwell here, free from suffering. Song of All, Canto 11.
And Ted is on. He has also guessed Lightning Bolt.
You're saying that it does not have white color
You
identity.
don't need to go back to that. Yes, it does not have white. I know I get why you're saying it. Scott, your initials are wrong. Which is good. If you're getting it and you think you have it, you can throw out the initials to see if other people can get it. But the initials you have there are wrong.
If I ask if Sarah is involved, do you know?
Let's not ask that question.
Okay. Okay, so this is generally where I'm going. Permanent, non-permanent, light and dust, calling forth, uncorrupted world. That one's almost too vague. I would put it as a permanent, but that does not mean it feels very Urza's Saga-ish. Like I want to say like Humble or Sarah's Sanctum, but those are white cards, white color identity. So I guess we could potentially go with like an artifact. Blue is potentially above clouds. Unlikely to be green. Unlikely to be red. Just talking that through, I'll probably can I get the second clue, please?
Yeah, I was gonna say you already got 2 wrong, so it's good to get a second.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, let's bring that up.
It's a short clue here because it's just for reasons I'll tell later. The text features a repeatable. I've been drinking. a repeatable recursion. The text features a repeatable recursion. I told Ted I'd make these extra hard for you on this one.
She coaxed forth an uncorrupted world. By her grace we dwell here free from suffering. Song of all. Can I get the first clue again, please?
The art features an armored woman above the clouds surrounded by floating rocks and feathers. You're really going to need that third clue is what it is. That third clue is going to help you.
Can I ask? Was this card originally printed before Time Spiral?
Yes, it was.
Hello, boobies.
Okay. So it is an older card. It very much feels like a. So they have those enchantments that get like verse counters on them, but they generally sacrifice themselves. Repeatable or repetible.
Ted is enjoying. He said it's so great watching his mind work.
There's
repetible.
Stop. Can I get that first clue again?
The art features an armored woman above the clouds surrounded by floating rocks and feathers.
So I have 2 wrong. I have not guessed. So repetible could be a permanent that's able to do it over and over, something like Phyrexian Reclamation or a creature. Oh, that might be tough. That might be really tough.
And just remember, it's Ted. He's a D-bag. No, I'm just kidding.
Right? No. But he knows his older cards. Like that's, and it is an older card.
I'm kidding, Ted.
There.
I only say that because I know you're on right now. If you weren't on, that would be nice.
You wouldn't be so mean. That might be really tough. That moved me over to like the Torment. That might be Torment. Oh, from Dust and Light. No, that doesn't make. Is it a permanent card?
Hello, boobies.
Oh, I was even thinking white. It's not white. It's so
he
such
got
a
it.
white card for me right now.
It's because you heard feathers. Feathers is throwing you off.
No, but I you know, it's it very much feels like a Sarah card, like because she created Sarah's realm. There was like religions based around her. Song of All, Canto 11 feels very much like what are those cards back from Urza Saga that, but it might be Torment card. Okay, so I know it's permanent. I'm gonna go with can I get that third clue, please?
Yep. Really quick, Renshai. No, it is none of those that you just asked. All right.
This is such a good one, man.
No one has it.
Yeah,
Ted,
that's fantastic.
Ted has it, but he's trolling. He's guessing things that he knows. All right, here comes this. This should be the light bulb. You ready? This card is in 91,000 EDH rec decks. First printed in 5th Dawn, and seen most in Omnath Locus of Creation decks. Yes, Renshai. He doesn't have it, but he's asking questions.
Can I get that again, please?
This card is in 91,000 EDH rec decks. First printed in 5th Dawn and seen most in Omnath Locus of Creation decks. Don't you have that deck? Didn't you make that little guy?
No, that's the 5-color one.
Is it the 5-color?
I believe so.
I'm going to double check.
Locus of Mana. Locus.
You might be right.
Either, it's either the 4 or 5-color one. And
no, Creation is the 4-color. So it's the one that you made.
all right. Fifth Dawn?
Yep, Renshai has the initials. I almost said the initials out loud, and it's like, whoop.
Fifth Dawn? Was she in Fifth Dawn? Is the question.
Are you
The
still
problem
going?
that I'm
Are you
having-
still going with the? Are you still going with the white card?
Oh, yeah, I thought I was a white card again. God damn it. Okay. Oh, it's such a white card. I was thinking Raya Dawnbringer, but I don't think that's then. That's
What
Um,
does- All
I
right,
don't know. All right. We know it's not white. It's
it's a permanent.
potentially a land or an artifact.
91,000 EDH rec decks. First printed in 5th Dawn, and is in most seen in Omnath Locus of Creation decks.
Oh yeah, the 5-mana one's like completion.
See, you need this brain juice that I'm drinking here. I'd share it with you, but you can't have any.
I can't. I'm not going to. Even if I did, then it'd extend the segment on for another half hour while I chug beer. That's that's probably more dangerous anyway. Repeatable recursion. Land. So like potentially landfall, bringing something back. Which would have been that angel. There's an angel there that's white. that I like. Fifth Dawn. There's a bunch of artifacts like
Is there a white card?
Sunburst.
Is there a white card in
no,
there? As
well, fifth on.
Is this who you're talking about right here? Is this who you think it is?
I'm really worried. Hold on.
Sarah's Ascendant.
Hold on.
Sarah's
I just
Ascendant.
got there. Is this? We know it's a permanent card, right?
Yeah.
We said it's
we established that. Yeah.
Hold on. This is stupid if it's that card.
What are you thinking?
Is it an artifact?
Hello, boobies.
Hold on. No, it can't be that one. Yeah. That's. Can I get the first clue, please?
The art features an armored woman above the clouds, surrounded by floating rocks and feathers.
Not a real question, but does she have wings? Just kidding.
I don't.
Just kidding.
know. That's the part I would have said differently. I don't. Think
She's
so.
an angel. All right.
I don't.
She's an angel.
I don't think so.
You don't talk bad about her. Okay. So it's an artifact.
Yep.
At that point, they didn't have color, but they do have some color identity, I want to say. Yeah, they do have color identity at that point. Memnarch is color identity blue. Wowie. Now here's the thing that I know it's not at this point. I don't believe. I would be tricky, but it would be like the third time. The Crucible Worlds. It's not that, but
If it was
repeatable.
That again. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Repeatable recursion. It's Fifth Dawn. Originally, it's in a ton of decks.
It's
so
our Stump the Smith, or not Stump. It's the what are we staple verses currently. That's one of our things. That's this week's staple verses.
That's true. That's true. I forgot about that. Is it colorless identity?
Hello, boobies.
Okay. So it's not white.
It's so hung up on white. Just want it to be white. I want it to be white so bad.
Uncorrupted world. By her grace we dwell here, free from suffering. Song of All, Canto 11. All right. Okay. So I'm switching gears. No, that wouldn't work. G did. So we're saying Fifth Dawn? Fifth Dawn?
And it's not a white card? What is going on?
No, but I mean, like, now I feel like we're talking about, like, Elish Norn, but she wasn't in Fifth Dawn.
But then it's white.
Also white.
I give up. I give
Ah,
Are you
we're in
sure
trouble.
you're not drinking?
I guess I'm just always entertaining. All right. Repeat. 91,000 means it's a good card.
Yeah, it's a lot of decks. I'm going to be onto my third beer.
Right. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So Fifth Dawn, repeatable recursion. It is an artifact. Can you read through the clues, please?
Yeah, no problem. Let me read the whole thing just for the people that are listening.
Yeah, just go through it.
I know chat on YouTube, they have it and they're enjoying the fuck out of this right now. Let me read on the card because the writing up there throws me off. From dust and light, she coaxed forth an uncorrupted world. By her grace, we dwell here, free from suffering. Song of All, Canto 11. The first clue is the art features an armored woman above the clouds surrounded by floating rocks and feathers. The text features a repeatable recursion. This card is in 91,000 EDH rec decks, first printed in Fifth Dawn, and seen most in Omnath, Locus of Creation, which is the 4 color Omnath. What white card are you going to guess? Land tax? It's gotta be land tax, right? Now it's not even an artifact anymore.
Hey, you're just picking on me. Being a bully. I'm gonna stand up to you. Get this right. We're gonna sit here all night now.
Yeah, you only have 2 wrong, and those 2 wrong were in the first, like, before you even got 1 clue.
Right. Right. I've just been afraid to pull a trigger. Nothing. Okay. 5th Dawn, colorless artifact, repeatable recursion. It is
Not white.
It's.
I'm gonna reach down and grab my other beer.
Repeatable recursion. Because when's Vidalcan Ori? No. Then there's
This one's fun.
oh my goodness.
I love when
Can
the person
can I
that
get 1 and 2?
that suggests it is on. It's fun when that happens too. 1 and 2. The art features an armored woman above the clouds surrounded by floating rocks and feathers. The text features a repeatable recursion.
My goodness. I might be stuck. I think I'm stuck because it's not white. It should be a white card.
Let's start throwing out some guesses. Because you got 3 to get. You got 3 of them here.
All right, you're right. I gotta. Is it CMC 4 or higher?
Wrong, 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 wrong.
So it's 3 or lower. Or I guess potentially X, but that doesn't. It might be a Sunburst type card. That was in.
Do you think there's any card that's 91,000 that's Sunburst? I don't mean to give things away, but there's not a single Sunburst card that is 91,000.
I'm not thinking hard. I disagree with you. Maybe not at 90,000, but there are some Sunburst. There's at least 2 Sunburst cards I bet that can make this list. So it's 3 or under.
2 more guesses or wrong guesses.
Just thinking, I don't like the general.
You might as well go if you have no idea. Might as well do the CMC guesses.
Repeatable recursion. That's the tough part. Okay, maybe. Okay, so repeatable recursion. Is that? No, that'd be like Kamigawa.
I'm enjoying this one a lot.
Does it recur creatures?
Wrong, 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 wrong.
1 more wrong guess.
Oh, that's silly. Maybe it should have been an artifact. Bring back artifacts. That'd make the most sense. Not walkers. It's unlikely to be land. Instant sorceries. Not really that deal. It should be an artifact. Is it recurring artifacts?
Wrong, wrong, wrong,
Oh,
wrong.
Ted, you got him. You got
My
him.
goodness. My goodness.
He
What is
didn't think he
on
was
here?
going to get you, but you ready? I'm not even going to let you guess because I'm just going to show you. You ready?
All right.
Yes, yes. You even said it, Crucible Worlds. You are over 3 on Crucible Worlds. You
Is that That's misleading. That's misleading.
I was making it tough for you. I used a specific.
I'm going to be bitter about that one set. I don't blame it on you either.
What's the misleading part? What part is misleading? You thought
Is
it
that
was
the-
this. You thought
No,
it was
but
this
you
card.
don't normally do the flavor text
No,
separate from the card, or is that the same flavor text on fifth edition?
no. I said originally printed. I didn't say where this is from.
Right.
I give you
I'm just
the
saying
original.
you normally have it attached to. That's not totally. Yeah, you're right. You.
I normally
did
give
say
you.
it
I normally
like
give you
did.
the first one because normally that helps you figure out. Okay, this set I can figure out what
Yeah.
cards were big in that set, and that's why I give you that. I didn't want to tell you all the printings that it had. I actually thought I was trying to make this so cryptic because this is the third. Is this the third time it's gotten? Yeah,
It'd be the third time.
third
yeah.
time, and so
It would be the third time.
I was trying to make it as. I mean, that's why I did like it's the text features repeatable or repetible recursion.
Yeah.
Like, I was giving you.
I think
nothing.
I missed the point of originally from.
Oh, from.
And if
fifth
I
one.
would have caught that, then I would have probably caught on. But nice job, Ted. Nice
Or,
job.
first printed is what I always said because I've written first
Yeah.
printed in fifth on. I think the other thing is because this version, and that's when you were like, does she have wings? I'm like, look at it. It kind of looks like she has wings here. And it may even be Sarah's. Like, I don't know if it is or not, but it's like, this is a very much a white looking card because you got
Right.
feathers and all that
Right.
stuff. And like,
I don't know, but I think that would be Sarah.
yeah, that's why I was like, don't ask me
Yeah.
that because I think it is her, but I'm not.
Yeah,
And
I wouldn't have known.
I could have
Either
given you
way.
more because I did look at the art of this one, and you can see this here. I could have said something with space, and I was like, fuck, that's too much of a giveaway. I got to make this as coded as possible because I thought the other part of it is the one of the highest percentage decks was Lord Windgrace. I went with the one that had the most decks to get it, so it was even tougher because then we went. Because if I said Lord
Yeah.
Windgrace, that gives it off to you like, oh, this is for sure a landfall
Yeah.
recursion
Yep,
type
yep,
deck. And so I was like, all right, coded. So
Nice job.
yeah, good job. It was funny, dude. If you get a chance, I know you have to edit the audio stuff. You should watch the YouTube of it because then when you said Crucible of Worlds, I was like, oh yeah, like that. And then once your eyes looked away, I was like, I'm drinking my beer and putting my hat down so you couldn't see my eyes. Oh, that was good.
God
All right.
darn it. That card.
We just needed to print it again. Is there another one that has a different? I think
I'm sure there is.
I
I'm
don't
sure there is.
know if we've gotten all the flavor text ones that of that. But anyways, all right. So again, so Ted, you're getting foil Sarah Ascendant. We will announce. Well, we're gonna do it again next week. We're not doing the bleep
No.
between and all that. But you guys can send
Right.
your suggestions, your Crucible World suggestions, to the email, or you can direct message me. Again, it has to be in 10,000 EDH rec decks or more. Next week we'll have a different. You know what? Let's figure this out right now. Next week will be one of the newer ones that is going to come out here. So it's going to be. We haven't even released this yet. This is going to be this month's proxy, but I already have it made. So it's Grand
Ooh.
Crescendo in the Star Wars clones. Stormtrooper clones art. So that will be next week, starting next week. I know, Ted, you probably would like that one instead because he's a big Star Wars guy too. But anyway, so
That's true.
send those in and your name could get drawn. Oh, speaking of,
Who's next week?
where is my box? There's my box. All right, let's see here.
Close.
Ted's name is still in here because he did have two of them. And he's like, which one are you doing? I'm like, I'm going to do Crucible Worlds because there's a lot of it. The art that I used for Staple Versus, let's see if I can. I don't want to give away stuff. The art that I used for Staple Versus
Very
is
plain.
Is this
Oh,
one.
it is that one?
It's this one. So I was like, everything's working perfect for this to work. I'm like, it's in this week's. And the fact that you actually said Crucible Worlds, I love it. Love it. All right, here we go. Next week's Stumper is going to be Christopher Maloney from Discord. He is next week's Stumper.
Yes.
So yeah. So again, send those in. Lowry, good job. You didn't have your brain juice.
I said it. I just I didn't believe it.
That's why when I told you, I was like, why don't you just start throwing out some guesses? Like, just throw out some guesses and let's see. I was hoping you'd be like, fuck it, Crucible Worlds. But no, it didn't come true. So, all right. Should we get into the main segment, or do we want to hit up the? No, let's do the main segment, and we'll hit up the tournament results. Which, by the way, I will give this little spoiler. The card that won by one vote for the Planeswalker tournament. Just saying. One vote.
Let's do it. Should we do that right now?
Oh, you want to do it right now? Hang on, let me get
let's do it right now.
All right, let's see here. It's card preview. Oh, not that one. No, we're doing slideshows. And we are going to hit up the 64 thing, but it's not 64.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
All right, it is the Planeswalker tournament. We gave it 2 weeks for voting, and it was at 50-50 up until late this morning. I think I even threw it out at Discord. Everybody needed to vote, and we got a few more in. Might as well get that drum roll. We're going to get the drum roll. Where is it? Where do you think this ended up, Lowry?
I don't know. I mean,
it's one vote. Yeah, I mean, it's literally one vote.
50-50 shot.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, because it was there was 100 votes, 100 total votes, and the winner of the Planeswalker tournament is Oko.
Yes!
Takes it. Number one, Oko takes down Ugin with 51 votes to Ugin's 49. Well, I guess it was 100 exactly. So yeah. So yeah, that was the closest by far. So next tournament, yeah, that's 2 votes different. Yeah, but it's like, wait, it's 50.
That's whatever.
51-49. So two different votes. Well, it was 50-50 up until
I don't know how much of a breakdown we need of this.
But yeah, Lowry, because you won this one, you get the first pick next tournament that we do. So this is 2 tournaments in a row. So folks, the best Planeswalker that is out there is Oko, because you guys are degenerate, killing commanders and making them so they can't do anything. And
Ugin does too.
Not really.
No, very impressive showing by Ugin. I would not have expected him there. Oko, obviously number 1 pick overall. I think you would have picked Oko number 1 overall as well.
Yeah, it was between that or my number 1, which was Narset. So
okay.
I think I personally would have picked Oko because I have him in a couple decks, and Narset I don't have in any decks. And so yeah,
okay.
I think I would have personally taken Oko. Yes, so that was a good pick. Good tournament, guys. We'll probably get another one started up here in a couple months. So yeah, all right, let's get out of the tournament stuff. Let's get back to our main stuff. So we're going to talk about house rules in Commander. Do you want to get us started with this stuff? I mean, how do we want to do this?
So just explain what house rules are. I think most people are going to know what it is, so I'll be semi-general, but house rules are basically just the rules that you play with your buddies. The people that know that what's going on, that's how you play. That's they're the extra rules that you place upon it to make it more fun for you and or your crew. It's, can vary from playgroup to playgroup. Like, I don't think there is a general, like, this is what every house does either. Right. Like, because we used to have a proxy rule. It was like, you got to own it, or it kind of was like a little waffling. Proxies are part of house rules, right?
Yeah.
People have to, if people don't accept your proxies at the house, it just ain't going to work there. And convincing random people that you're okay with, that you have proxies, and they're like, no, I'm not cool with that. But if it's at your house, Adam, everybody just kind of has to accept that proxies are cool.
That's why I have it at my house like all the time.
Right.
So
So they can't fight you on it. Right. My rules. And so that's part of it, is just having everybody in agreement that this can happen in this game. Right.
What one thing I'll piggyback on with that is when we decided to go the proxy route and start allowing that kind of thing. The thing is like, as a group, you're kind of like, these are our rules. You kind of got to stick by them, because then once you break it, and freaking shit happened. Shit hit the fan when people. There was one person in our group that when we started it, immediately proxied something that he didn't own, and it caused a huge fight. Yep, moat, which is $300-$400 at the time, and
at that time,
and got called out for it, and it really just we don't play with that person anymore. Like that, it ruined everything with that. It didn't ruin us playing, but that group experience, that whole who we had in that group, where our house rules were. So the thing is first off, all be on the same page, not
absolutely,
like, not just dilly dally, like, oh yeah, that should be fine. Like, get it out and not writing, didn't mean that, but actually talk it through.
A consensus.
Right, of what the rules are with it. And that's the big thing with the house rules stuff. And what we're going to try to do here is not necessarily do that. We're not doing the like follow the rules and then, otherwise blah, blah, blah. We're kind of giving you some ideas of things that might make the game more enjoyable for your house rules to maybe try out. So a lot of these, we'll start off with what we do, and then we'll kind of jump into some suggestions that we've gotten, some things that I've read that other people do. We'll kind of dive into those and kind of give our 2 cents and how feasible we think those are. So Lowry, why don't let's get started with that. What is one of the big changes that we have done? Well, I guess proxies was number one. That's a great example. So basically with the proxy rule, we say, as long as you own the card, then you can proxy the shit out of it. And that's our rule. Like we started, and it's a game changer for our group. It's evolved into many more people and all that stuff. But for me personally, I love the way it's changed my game, in that now I'm more of a collector of trying to find cool art of things and own that, not for my decks, but just for my collection. And then I proxy it, and I love doing the proxies as a separate thing. That's always been kind of a thing. Not that, but like photography is my background of stuff that I loved in high school. And that's one thing I like doing. This allows me to do that. And I love doing proxy stuff. And so anyways, that's a side note with it, but that was one of our big game changers, right? I mean,
it definitely was. On to the next one that we definitely talk about quite a bit, definitely in the playthroughs, is kind of our mulligan and starting the game clause. And so we have unlimited mulligans. Like, it's just be reasonable with your time. But the main thing is we want to start the game in a, like, we want everybody as close to being on the same foot as possible.
Yeah.
And so when you mulligan, you're trying to make sure that you're not going to get mana screwed or mana flooded. That's the general thought. Like, you're not trying to go for
got to get that soul ring in my hand, and like senseis and all that stuff. Yeah.
Right. So it's mainly about land, and just as long as everybody understands, like, you just want a good starting hand. It doesn't have to be amazing. It just has to be playable.
Right.
Because and go up to 7. We have no problem with that. It's not a London mulligan where you got to go down 6, 5, 4 with your starting hand, because that puts you at such a disadvantage.
Then it's not
Commander.
Fun. Like, and then you're having one person that's screwed, and like, I understand in the competitive scene where maybe there's prizes on the line and you want to win and all that stuff. Yeah, sure, that matters more. But you're playing with it's house rules. You're playing with people in a house or at maybe a LGS, and it's buddies that you play with every week. You don't want somebody to just not have a good time. Like, that sucks. I personally hate playing a game where somebody isn't getting what the land. If they're mono screwed, Mana Flooded sucks too, but Mana Screwed pisses me off more than anything, like, and it doesn't make me mad at them. It's just like, this doesn't feel like a real game. At that point, I'm like, this isn't a real Commander game. We have one player that we are either pitying and not doing anything because they are just screwed, or it's just, they're not playing their deck. We're having this pseudo 40 life over here that it doesn't really matter. And it sucks. So
yeah,
mulligan
start the game off
with a good hand, not good hand, but just
and
3 land.
And that
or
dovetails into our beginning hands. And so what we do is, 1 through 4, first person that's going gets to draw 8 cards. And when they choose one of them and put it on the bottom, and then second and third
or 9
turns to 9, and they put 2. So you start out with still 7. And then the fourth person starts off with 10. I saw a lot of discussion in the Discord about that with number 2.
Number 2 said they've been doing all 10. He said there was.
I don't know if I'd go 10. If everything's going to be the same, I'd probably go 9.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is he said it's more difficult to like, but it's not hard to figure that out. But the thing is like, we talked about this when we started doing this was actually, I think it was a Goldfish episode. So I'm not sure if it was Goldfish or if it was Command Zone.
That was like pre-COVID at that point.
Yeah, I'm
we're talking 4 years ago.
Pretty sure it was Goldfish that brought it up, but they took in account like hundreds of games between them, Command Zone, all the big guys, and they went through to figure out where the advantages were. So like if a player gets turn 1 Soul Ring, if a player gets this, if a player gets that, like
that might be because Command Zone.
Yeah,
I think they did that.
That's what I'm saying. It's one of the two. So it's one of the two that came up with it. I feel like it's Goldfish because I felt like it was there were more stats and they were pulling from them. But anyway, it doesn't matter which one it is. It's still the same thing.
Yeah.
But what the conclusion was, turn 1 Soul Rings actually hurt the player that has the turn 1. So a lot of people end up picking on that player. The biggest thing that they saw, like that player normally doesn't win. The thing that they normally saw was the person that starts typically has a percentage higher than everybody else to win the game. And the fourth player has the least amount by all the hundreds of games that they took into account. And so there is that fourth player rule. Like the people have been trying to figure out that. And so after we kind of, came across that, we're like, how do we change that in our Commander games? And I've liked it. Personally, when I'm last, I'm like, well, fuck, I get to look at 10 cards and I get to choose the best cards out of those 10 cards. I'm not as upset that I'm last because I get a little bit extra. I know that one extra card doesn't matter, but when it's their starting hand, it does matter. It makes it feel like you have a little bit of a win there. And
I definitely noticed the difference. And between like number 2 is saying that there isn't that much of a difference and maybe it's complicated in like 8, 9, 9, 10 or whatever. But I do think there is a big.
Oh, and Renshai is confirming it was, you're right. Command Zone was the one that did it.
But I think there is a pretty big feel for first place, just going first. There's a big advantage there.
Yeah.
In fourth, there isn't necessarily a huge difference between like first, second, and third.
Right.
But that fourth player is very much behind first player.
Yep.
And so I do think our games have gotten better because of what we've done. And I'm not saying it's perfect by any means. So if number 2 is finding what he's doing enjoyable,
that's
enjoyable,
the thing. Then everything we're saying here, everything we're saying here is whatever you want to do under your house and stuff, like whatever you want, like totally fine. We're just this is the things that we've done. But yeah, I agree with what you're saying. It doesn't feel as bad when you're last. That's all I'm saying, since we've changed that. And I will say that before it was just like, fuck. It feels like you're a complete turn behind. I mean, you basically are. Because as soon as you say go, everybody else is already, obviously it's how turns work. One other thing.
How does Magic work?
To add to those numbers, if people are thinking about trying this out with their play groups, if you have 5 players, you do 8, 8, 9, 9, 10. So you're still giving an advantage to that last player. And if you have 3 players, it's 8, 9, 9. And that's pretty much, if that's how we've done it, try it out, see if you like it. We did already free mulligans. Do we want to talk about like? Well, let's start with let's stay on that level of the same idea.
Okay.
Some other things I've seen is everybody, or no, let's start with the fourth player. The fourth player has Monarch, was one thing that kind of gets people starting to attack.
Question.
Yep.
Is there anything else that we do?
Yes, but I wanted to add into that, or do we just want to?
Like
wait.
I'd say
let's
talk about
sections.
the things that we do,
Okay.
and then the stuff that we could do or like or add in or whatever.
I dig it.
Later.
Okay. All right. So then let's talk about take back stuff. Like how do we handle that? If you like tapped your land or maybe missed a draw, or you want to change how your lands are. How do we handle that typically? I mean, basically it's if how you always say it. And I love how you bring this out. Like when we're on stream, not necessarily in person, you say this on stream, which is very nice that you point this out. You go, the information hasn't changed. Nothing has changed where either you've, let's say you've tapped your land and played a card and drew a card. And now you're like, well, I want to untap this one and that. The information has changed. Now you've drawn a card. But if you've tapped your land, played the card, and you're like, can I change this land to this? And it's like, well, nothing has changed. Yeah. And so, yes, you can take that back. And we're not.
Some people are really, really strict about that kind of stuff.
Like we were when we were kids. Kids, we were assholes.
Well, kids are assholes. Let's clarify that.
If you forgot to untap during your upkeep, you couldn't untap as how we were as kids. That's how fucking dickheads we were.
So, but the big part there is just looking out for, because if somebody's like, oh, I'm going to play this in response, you're like, oh, I'd like to, information has changed.
Yeah. And
so like, you just got to make sure that things are clear. You can easily back up. And, sometimes you're like, I play this creature. And then you think a little bit and you're like, hold on, I didn't want to cast that creature.
Yeah.
As long as nothing's changed, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You just revealed something from your hand anyway, so it's actually more of an advantage for everybody else. Yeah,
Renshaw is right. It is
a slippery slope,
potential slippery slope. So I think that is something more that you want everybody in agreement on.
Yeah,
not just a general rule. Like if somebody's like, "Can I take this back?" and one person's saying no during the game, you probably shouldn't be taking it back.
Right. I will say too is I did read some stuff where some play groups have like a one freebie kind of thing where they only allow it once or whatever. But I like the mentality of what you said is information hasn't changed. And the only thing that I will say is a little different, and this is it's kind of going into the spell table playing online thing is let's say I'm going, all right, Lowry, I'm attacking with these two. Renshaw, I'm attacking you with these two. And then you go, well, just so you know, I do have a guy with reach. Oh, okay. Because the hard part about spell table and stuff, or even like big games, is you can't see all that stuff that's out there. You're just kind of trust. Okay, well, I actually have, and that's why one thing we've been better at, we don't do all the time, is go, do you have a way of blocking this that I can see on the table? Oh, yes, I have this guy with reach. Yep. So that's another way to get around it. We're a little more lenient where it's like, oh, by the way, I do have this guy with reach. Sometimes we don't always do that, like
it depends on the state of the game. But yeah, like communication is pretty key because there are some people that don't talk about the cards that they are casting. They're just going, it's this card. I was like, and sometimes, games are long, Magic's complicated. I am more than willing to let things slide, but also just try and, it depends on the thing, right? Because if somebody's like, I want to kill that, and you're like, well, actually, the boots gives it hexproof or shroud or whatever. You're like, oh, I guess I can't do that. Like, that's not a take back either.
Yeah, you
right?
just couldn't have
Sometimes you just have to cast a spell and retarget it.
I think that's what
like that
Ward throws off is that you should just let them do that and then go, well, actually, it's countered unless you pay one more.
Right.
because
Absolutely.
it's very different. But that's not in our mentality. Is we have hexproof and shroud in your brain, and it's like, well, you can't do that. And it's like, let them do it, and then you tell them as soon as, like, well, actually, it has ward, because that's not, you're not supposed to be reminded. But that's also
Right.
the spell table factor. You know, that's kind of the hard part of it. You know, you have to.
And you can even go, can I target that? Like, just having that question of like, is there something there that is stopping me? That just having that question of, can I do this without on board? Is there something that I'm missing? Because that helps newer players.
Mm-hmm.
That helps across the table with a glare or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that just, it's also part of like speeding up the game. You know, if I have to sit down and I want to do something to you, but I have to read through every card you have, that's going to take a while, right? It's not my deck. I got to figure out what those cards are, especially for newer players. And so it's a lot easier to have that conversation of, well, this is what I could do. I do have cards in my hand. I do have mana open. Like, you can point all those stuff out. You can make it a bluff too, but just making sure that they understand the information. So I think maybe what we're trying to get at is, house rules wise, we try and be fairly open in our communication. We try and mitigate the feel bads
Right.
of misplays, even though, you know, they happen.
Yeah.
And they still happen in a game, even though when you're trying to,
It's
like,
the most,
they happen
it's
all
the
the
most
time.
fucking complicated card game out there. I mean, you've said that it's out there, like, but the hard part is we've had episodes on this, getting past those misplays like that can haunt you. And then like the take back stuff helps with that a little bit. So you don't, and the stupid things where it's easy to take back and all that.
Right.
Do we want to say
Is,
the tutors and the counters? Do we, I mean, people know about that.
no, those aren't really house rules. Those
Right.
are just like
Our
self
personal-
preferences.
yeah.
Personal preferences, self preferences.
What is my padding? What was my thing? That was my clue.
Repetable.
Repetible. Yeah, pet.
It's a cat.
You can repet it multiple times.
Just kidding. It's a dog. Cats, you only get one shot and then they leave.
All right.
Is there anything else that we do?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I mean,
Okay. Is there anything we would question? Because there are two that I have, and I guess a third way. Let me. Well, what do you want to pitch? Is there anything that you'd like to add to our Playgroups games?
well, kind of what I was getting into before, and one we've talked about before is, the Monarch with the fourth player.
Yeah,
that could
we have
be
talked about that.
an interesting thing. One I kind of thought of while thinking about the Monarch is the Undercity. That one would be interesting. Hard part with that one is that's super powerful. Like your first turn is going to go get a land. Like so
That'd be good on that
the fourth player. Like, and then it's Scry 2. Well, let me pull that up. I wonder if Undercity. So that was, I like the Monarch thing. Okay, let's see if I can flip it over. Let's do card preview and turn it over. So your very first one is you get to get a basic land, then it's Scry 2, then it's getting treasure, then a 4/1, and then revealing the top. This one's brutal, the last one, if you hit that, and it's at the end step. So it's, or wait, no, whenever you take the initiative or at the beginning of your upkeep. So your very first one, you're getting this, and then you're probably getting Scry 2. So the fourth player is getting probably these two, most likely a treasure as well. That could be too much than just the Monarch where you're just drawing.
Could be.
But that was one I kind of thought of. The other ones, the dungeons suck. So I wouldn't say the like that one's just,
they don't count.
bad.
Well, I guess the thing about Monarch and all that stuff. So the nice thing is like that fourth player. We're talking about the fourth place starting with Monarch or Undercity, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay. And so the thing would be is the difference between like, so that fourth player plays a land, and they go to 7 cards, more than likely they get to draw a card, but they got to discard anyway. There's no card advantage there.
Yeah,
For that 4th player. And then more than likely they're going to get hit first by the 1st or 2nd player. And so you almost need to have a quicker defense because you're still a turn behind. And so I would say Undercity's probably better to start with, but Monarch might be a better game mechanic to just have in the game generally.
Right, because it's easy. It's not like you're not keeping track of where are you on the Undercity. But if that was a rule that everybody's doing that, then everybody has their own Undercity card. So they could just keep track of where they're at. It's probably a lot easier to do the Monarch. I think these two are very good adds because it adds people to incentive to attack. And that sometimes you get that with Commander is people not attacking. This moves the game along immediately. You're getting everybody attacking. Esteban did ask, so what do you think about Arena where it double checks? This is back to our question from before. If you target something that it's negatively impacts you. So we don't handle Arena as we haven't played Arena in years at this point. So if you could explain more on that, I guess.
Well, I think it's just saying like if you're doing something,
it will check it to tell you
is bad for you, and they're like, "Are you really sure you want to do that?" And maybe there's an Aristocrats deck or whatever. I don't know.
Well, and I
exactly
wonder
what you're talking about there.
What and Esteban can probably write in the comments here. Does Arena on Ward ask you right away, do you want to pay 1? I'm guessing it. I mean, it does. It has to. But then I'm guessing then you're countered at that point. Whereas Shroud or Hexproof, it would just negate that you even could do that.
Yeah, you couldn't even. Yeah, you couldn't even target it. And so.
But anyways, okay. So I think that was it for the 4th player. What was one that you were thinking?
Here's another kind of concept that Mr. Hockey brought up was the Ascent to Avernus starting. And so everybody starts with so Ascent to Avernus is an enchantment that during your upkeep the player, I don't know how you would do it, but basically everybody gets like 2 treasures, takes 2 damage.
Did I spell Ascent wrong?
Maybe Ascent of Avernus.
I'm gonna turn off the music.
I don't
music
know.
Quiet
but basically it's 2 treasures, 2 life, and then the next turn is 4 treasures, 4 life. I don't quite know how he would want to have that work. Like, does it happen on the 4th player trigger?
Yeah, I'm not spelling it right. Fucking A.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
Ascent. Oh, it might be. No, none of those. I know which one. It's that red card, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that could be fun because it's damaging and it's ramping everybody. But again, I can see it problematic. Like first, person going first is going to have a shit ton of advantage there by being able to just be so fast.
So
turn 2, you're down 6 life, but you got 6 treasures and 2 land. Like that'd be bonkers, right? Like I don't know. It moves the game along. I do like the idea. I think people should just play it more.
Right. One thing I did read that I think would be kind of like similar in this is what we should do when we were like, we need to do a quick game is I saw Speed Commander, which I haven't heard of this. Everybody, when they go, they draw 2 cards and they can play up to 2 lands. So it speeds everything up. So it's making the turns go a lot quicker. Or not turns go quicker.
So different types. But doesn't that just give a crazy advantage to first turn?
Yes. Then you still have the other rules in. You got to have the other things in place, right?
Sure.
But
I remember
that's what I was saying is like
a different type of playing as well. Heinzman used to, when he first started playing, he called it fast magic, where basically you can play all of the lands in your hand and then play your spells, and then at the beginning of your next turn you drew up to 7 cards and can do it all over again.
Well, that is a huge advantage.
That'd be insane
to first player.
That wasn't commander. That was 1v1, and still probably a huge advantage.
Yeah,
for that first
player. Talk about first player advantage right there. Like that'd be insane.
There might be some other things missing there, but I remember that one.
Some other thing I saw was I've heard this too, is everybody starts with the soul ring. So everybody starts with their soul ring in their hand as part of your 7. So you really would only go down to 6, 6 plus the 1, and everybody has at least the soul ring out.
Still seems like an insane advantage for turn 1.
Turn 1. But the thing is I think if you implement the other things that we talked about were the 4th player advantage, I think you still have that in that, like this is something that you're adding on top of it. The other thing I don't agree with this one at all, but people have talked, they've heard this banning soul ring. It's no fast mana. So it's no soul ring, no mana crypt, no mana vault, no grim monolith. All those are gone. And
Dockside's gone. Yeah.
All that stuff is just eliminated and
What about the other way? House rules unbanning cards. That could be something we have discussed it in the past, but I think ultimately it was kind of too hard to, when you have a bigger crew that fluctuates on the outside, like you got a core that you can get to agree with, but then you have newer players coming in and you're like, oh, you know what? This card's unbanned for us.
Yeah. Then
they might not understand that part, but there's also people that fluctuate on the outside that play with you, and they might not know coming in. Like if we were like SmithCon, Primeval Titans unbanned, and then I think that causes some chaos. I think that's why we shied away from it, along with like, let's just follow the rules for a bit until we deviate.
Well, yeah, because remember I was still playing with Primeval when we weren't really like, I was like, what is banned? What banned rules what are you talking about banned? And you're like, that's banned. Yeah. That's banned. I'm like,
you guys were playing with banned cards. It fucking sucked for everybody else. You were playing Rofalos for a while. Like garbage.
Hey,
garbage.
He got unbanned, but he couldn't be your commander was the big thing. And then they went, you can't have a separate commander. The big one was Primeval Titan, where you're just like, what the fuck, man? You keep playing Primeval. I'm like, because it's a good card.
Like, no shit, but it's banned. All right, here I have 2 more that kind of were what prompted me to do this. And one of them we did at Minneapolis Magic Con was a free cycle for cards that were too powerful, like not within the game of what's playing. And it was my Jedid Ojanen hashtag Team Force Walk deck.
Get the fuck out of here.
And I drew Cradle. And
hang on.
And so
good for you.
Mouth button. And so basically I was like, hey, at this point in the game, I don't want this. And then so I was like, can I just exile this card and draw a free card so it's not just like bad, but I also don't have to go through my deck and change things before, like depending on the power level. And so, as a guy's Cradle, and they're like, yeah, you can do that. And so I think that would be a good one with the idea of like,
that'd be more like,
I understand that we're not playing this power level, but it's in here.
Mm-hmm.
And so can I just get rid of it, but not be punished necessarily for it? You also don't want to be talking about like a CEDH at pub stomping and like, and then just it's a free cycle through your deck until you find something else. Like like there's always ways to abuse, and that's why it's kind of like make sure that it's within the house rules and everybody understands. Like it has not happened very often, but having the idea of like this card is too powerful for this game, allowing me not to just be punished for having a dead card in hand. Right. Or I'm overpowering the table.
Right.
And so
potentially it could be maybe your deck completely worked out and you have the win on turn 4. I mean, you could just start over at that point, but I'm gonna say you have the winning card in your hand and be like, can I just exile this and just draw a different one? I mean,
right.
Because everybody's setting up. I mean, at that point, you're 15, 20 minutes in. Most likely people are like, yeah, just exile that, just draw another card. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
I like that idea. You had a second one there too. You want to say your second one?
Yeah. So trying to avoid color screw. And this happens to, you can hit the, oh, good for you, but some people, not me, but other people.
Oh,
And-
Good for you.
And looking at cards that do this kind of color filtering, but allowing you to tap create 2 mana that give you whatever color of your commander. And so if you're like a black, green, white deck and you're missing white, you can tap 2 colors to get a white, or just 2 mana for a white.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
And that's an adjustable number that hasn't, but I think 2 works because oftentimes the lands that are like, hey, if you tap 1 and this, you can get whatever color. Or there's like artifacts where you're paying 1 and then that artifact taps to get you. So like it's either a colorless mana, or you're paying 1 and it to get a color. And then there's also, I want to say, it's like Prismatic Might or something. There's an artifact creature where you're like paying 2 and it filters it for you. So I think 2 seems to be a decent number, to just have like a rule where you can pay 2 to get a color if you're off or missing it or just not drawing it. I think that can maybe help out a little bit.
Yeah, I would say that there's probably a lot of people out there going, well, like you said,
I would just say build a better deck.
Right.
But I get it. Like even you have everything balanced completely, especially when you get to those 3 colors, 3, 4, 5 colors, you're still going to get screwed. Like, I mean, I was goldfishing Will again the other day and I hit 7 mana in a row. And it's like, I have this balanced right. It's just your luck on that. And
yeah,
I think if your group is lenient with it, I kind of dig that a little bit, being able to pay 2, because it's not, you're paying 2 to get 1 mana. Like that's kind of screwing you. You're not able to go crazy with it, but it's at least allowing you to progress forward with what your deck is trying to do, and not do the thing that I said that I hate is somebody being mana screwed or not being able to play the game. If you have one person that plays 1 card or 2 cards the entire game, they didn't play Commander. That was not a game for them. And they just sat there for half hour, 45, hour and a half, it depends on how long the game goes. So I could see that.
I can see the argument too of raising it up to 3 mana for a color. Like thinking about like Commander Sphere, like all of those 3 mana monolith kind of cards to get you that. And so I can see it being like, if you pay 3 mana, then it's not like Soul Ring, tap it for a red or, a green. And so like making sure that Soul Ring ends up being pretty powerful in that situation as well.
Yeah.
And bumping it up. So I can see it either way, debatable for whatever. But those were the 2 that I could see implementing into a playgroup.
I dig those a lot. The some of the other ones, I really do like that mono one though, because that would help a lot of people, especially if you don't have necessarily all the fetches to go get the dual lands or the shocks or whatever. If you don't have the duels or whatever, fetches are expensive as shit by themselves, and then to go find the right stuff, I think that's a good way to make it so that you're not just playing 2 color, 1 color decks, so you can play these 3 color and 4 color and 5 color decks on a budget. Okay, so some of the other things I saw was hybrid mana stuff. So not counting it as both colors. So you're able to play that in a, if it's a hybrid green white, you can play it in a mono green or a green and blue deck. Like it doesn't need to have the white part. I thought that was interesting. I think that actually, I feel like that could be something that should be changed. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, what are your thoughts on the hybrid stuff?
I think people get confused enough on color identity
that if
already.
You add that in there, then it adds more confusion.
Why does that count?
Yeah.
And like with, what's the Orzhov mechanic?
I know. I'm like, extort.
Extort, yeah.
Yes.
Extort confuses people enough.
Yeah, because it's like in the reminder text, but it's not.
Which doesn't count.
Right.
So
if it's in parentheses, it does not count. You can't.
It's reminder text, not actual text.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I think I agree in principle, but like the confusion that it potentially causes.
But that's
is problematic.
Again, house rules. House rules.
House rules. Yeah. House rules. I wouldn't have any problem with it.
And that's just a reminder, Lowry. That's the segment. No, I'm just kidding.
This is about us. This is about us.
Some other stuff was non-creature legends. We've kind of dabbled in that a little bit with Planeswalkers. We thought the Planeswalkers were going to go there. I
don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, that one would be an interesting one. The other one was a no legend commander rule. So the commander is not a legendary creature. It has to be a non-legendary.
Like
that
Pauper?
might be a side game thing, maybe like Pauper type thing, but I don't know. I don't know how Pauper is played. How's Pauper played?
I think Pauper is any uncommon creature.
Okay. Yeah,
is your
the thing I just saw was like any non-legendary creature is your commander.
Yeah.
That opens up more stuff, you have a bunch of, you can do a lot of different things if you did that.
And stuff that and so these are like, there isn't a huge difference between like rule changes and house rules, right? Like, cause we've talked about like having every Planeswalker be available to be commander.
Besides some certain ones. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you could sit down and be like, hey, everybody build a deck that is Planeswalker centric. And that's kind of a house rule and be like, how much do we like this? You might be able to just go any legendary permanent can be your commander, right? I mean, yeah.
I'll choose the One Ring.
Yeah, that'd be bonkers. You're colorless though.
I know. That'd be hard because you got to gain life. Shit. Well,
good luck.
Sun Droplet. You're drawing a lot of cards. Gaining the life.
No, but nope.
Am I doing Sun Droplet wrong? No, isn't
Sun Droplet you have to take damage for that. It's not life loss.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, look at you. Look at you, smart guy.
Wink. Crucible of Worlds. Got it.
Yeah. I don't like the way that you worded that. It wasn't the first time printed.
Didn't like it.
You were like, Ted, good pick, Adam. I don't like your clue. I'm like, motherfucker. One I do want to mention, I thought this was from Cole. This was a pretty good one from Discord. In the first 5 turns, if you miss a land drop, like if you aren't able to play a land, you then get to go search for a basic land and put it into your hand. I could dig that one a little bit. You just rolled your eyes because you're the player that has 17 land by turn 6. So am I right or am I right?
Here's the
Did we play this week and people go, who has the most land? Of course Lowry has the most land. Like if you don't have the most land by mid game, you have failed.
And I generally do fail. That's, but I think it's some of these need, like if your play group is having issues, I think that's where house rules can really help out. So like if games die down and they don't really finish out, like somebody's not getting enough, like if you're not getting enough mana, some of these things can help where everybody gets to go get a land, or the Monarch helping people draw cards, just going along the way. And all of these kind of are saying like drawing cards is amazing, right? But it's kind of saying that people might need to be playing more draw in their deck. So some of these ideas can help people fill holes in their deck building,
which is a crutch.
And we already said like you can abuse this.
Yeah.
And so you don't necessarily want to do that. Like we've talked about it a couple times where like the mulligan rule, you could abuse it by putting certain cards on the bottom of your library.
Full circle.
You know what I mean?
You abuse things, it wrecks the whole fucking thing. Proxies. Again, we talked about proxies. One person immediately went against what we all talked about and it wrecked the whole thing. We no longer, all of us played as a group. Like we still play, the ones that didn't break the rules, but you had somebody abuse something that we were modifying. So the thing that's a very good point is all these can be abused as long as everybody's staying within the lines. You can have a good time. But if you have somebody that's like, I just want to win, I want to win, I want to win, and it's almost like cheating, you know? I mean, it is.
It is.
Right?
Yeah.
So you just make it not fun for everybody else, and then you don't have anybody to play with because now you're a cheater or whatever, you know?
And so Renshai was saying, like, take backsies can be a slippery slope, and that can frustrate people. And I get that, but that can be with any deviation from the normal rules. I mean, people get frustrated within the rules. Like if you're getting pub stomped or something goes too fast, like people can be really frustrated about anything.
Right.
But what you need to be is conscious that you're not abusing the goodwill of your friends and or wherever you're playing.
And to kind of double back again, I think that's why as kids we were such dickheads with all that, is because we were so focused on winning,
Sure.
that we wanted everything to be to the rules. So if you drew your card and you didn't untap, you couldn't untap. Like that was, we're dickheads because we were like, we wanted to win so bad. It's completely evolved to completely different at this point. It's not about the winning part. It's more about the having fun with your friends and the what your deck is doing, what you want it to do.
Yeah.
Crazy shit is happening.
And we can be honest too. Like when we were kids, it was mostly you pushing those rules. So
you asshole.
Zing. I'm just kidding. I hardly remember. It was an 8-person game around like round tables. I don't remember that far back.
I could see myself being like, you didn't untap. I mean, but I do remember it.
I think we definitely, well, okay. So again, it potentially stemmed from Rennie at his tournament. He was like going to win. This is back Sarah Angel was big, and he's playing against somebody, and that person goes judge. He untapped after his untap step, like after he drew his card, and he had to go back and tap his lands. And so he he's our uncle, but he basically quit Magic after that. He's like, that's stupid. And he wasn't mad. He was just like, nah, it's not for me. And we were like, yeah, that'll fuck you. You can't untap after this.
Yeah.
And so that might have been where it stemmed.
Well,
thusly,
so Rennie
maybe
quit.
Jake.
We got Vince to quit.
I wasn't there for that.
Yeah, you were. Weren't you on the boat to that?
Not there. We came late and left early.
Oh, you did. All right. Because
Yeah.
he was playing Bone of Throne.
Throne of Bone.
Throne of Bone. Bone of Throne. He's playing it wrong where he cast a black spell and you can tap 1 to gain a life. And he's like, I tap 6 land to gain 6 life. You're like, that's not how it works. Yes, it is. Blah, blah, blah. We're little kids telling this adults that he's playing it wrong. He's like, fuck this. Didn't swear.
He was probably upset.
But yeah, he was very upset. And that was the last time we played with Vince. So there was one more on the list that we had talked about was, and I don't know if this fits into another segment that we're going to do down the road, but with side game stuff, but the secret commander stuff, which that might fit in there. Do we want to save that for that?
Let's save it for that. It could go either, but since we're time, it is going to be a 2-hour cast now.
Yeah. All right. I'm moving that down.
Sorry.
No, that's all right.
That's my fault. Stump was brutal.
Secret commander over there. Okay.
Oh boy.
So you guys will have to tune in for the next episode where we do that. So, okay. You're right. Cause we're going to get to 2 hours. If you guys have any suggestions of other things that your guys' your play group does, put it in the comments and all that. I'd love to hear different. I learned a bunch of stuff just reading other people's things that they do. I've really liked the fourth person rule that we do. I would like to implement maybe the Monarch or the Undercity thing at some point, maybe to see how that goes. But yeah, so we would love to hear what you guys do. So please, if you're watching on YouTube, put it in the comments. If you're not, I don't know, Twitter us or X us.
Put it on Podbean. That's
well, we won't see it. So jump on YouTube and just leave a comment.
Left a comment there in like 4 years.
But yeah, it is no. The only comment, the last comment I can see on the side is Bill from Woodbury saying, "Adam, I hope you recover from COVID," which was a year ago almost. It's about 11 months ago. So,
yeah.
All right. Let's get to staple verses. All right, let me get to that. You know what I noticed that I didn't do last week? Did you notice what I missed last week?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it though.
What did I miss?
I don't know. Shit. You think I can like notice things?
Well, what I missed last week is I never hit we have a button for this damn thing, and I never hit staple verses. I didn't do this last week.
Round one.
Excuse me.
Because we hadn't done it for like a month and a half.
Rusty.
Staple verses! Well, we already did this fucking staple verses, which we didn't figure out because remember last week, rewind to last week. I took the week off and didn't do thumbnails or anything like that. And then when I was doing the thumbnails for the voting, realized we already did Crucible Worlds versus Oracle of Moldiah. And Crucible killed last time. But does it kill again?
That's
Maybe,
a good question.
Does this version, I mean, you might not recognize this version. It's a completely unique, different version that Lowry has no idea that exists. He's been stumped by it 3 times, but yes, you win again, 63%. It was a killing. It was a killing.
There we go.
This is a winning night for you. Maybe you should not drink more often.
I'd rather lose and drink than win and not drink. So,
can we use that as
crossed?
Is that the new Tyrion like quote? I'd rather I drink and know things. I'd rather lose and drink. AJ, where is the button or where is the meme that I want to see in the next week or so? All right, so Lowry, what do we got? Bring us into this week's staple verses. This should be pretty quick. Let's keep it under 10 minutes so we can get this under 2 hours.
All right. Spellstutter Sprite is a 1 and a blue fairy wizard, 1/1 flash flying. When it ETBs, counter target spell with converted mana cost X or less, where X is the number of fairies you control.
All right. I have Mental Misstep, which is either 1 blue or Phyrexian, so 2 life. So kind of a free spell. And counter target spell with converted mana cost 1. And it's an instant.
Right.
So I don't know.
It doesn't have flash, so it's not as good.
I don't know what arguments we're gonna have here. I mean, I could throw out the amount of decks that this is in compared to yours. Well, where do you think it's at? I like when you guess.
I'm gonna say Misstep has more. Maybe we're talking like 60,000 for the fairy, 80,000 for Misstep.
Well, you're close on Misstep with 88,000, but
okay,
the fairy's at 11,000.
I don't know if I like that. I feel like that's a bad play.
Yeah, it is. That's why it's not in decks.
Okay, so it sounds like I have to defend mine.
Right.
I apparently okay.
How many?
So obviously,
you doing this in fairy tribal? Like, how many fairy tribal decks do you have?
Obviously, it works in fairy tribal decks. I don't know how many there are. There's enough, maybe.
Is there?
But
is there?
Alayla wants this for sure. Both Alaylas want it.
Sure.
And then you have
two,
but this should go in any flying deck. It's 2 mana that counters the same stuff that Mental Misstep has, but it has a 1/1 body on it that when you're in a flying deck, which there are plenty of them out there.
But it costs 2? It costs 2, right?
It does cost 2.
And 2. How much does Mental Misstep cost?
I mean, you're saying 2 life. Essentially, that's the thing. That it's a free spell, but it's very limited. You can get random fairies in a deck because fairies are solidly good. And then you also, it could go in any changeling deck because then you're just countering all of the spells, whatever one you want.
So
it can go into bounce spells or bounce decks where you can bring
So
it back and forth and counter another spell.
All of these decks, this could go in those as well.
It could, but it wouldn't be cool. But also, it's not repeatable, really. It's not. I mean,
well, you're talking about bouncing. Well, then you can recur it from your graveyard. Remember, recursion from Crucible of Worlds. You have recursion with different things that can bring stuff back from the graveyard. Like, you can do that.
What is Mental Misstep in a Layla deck? Just a Mental Misstep. Spellstutter Sprite is a 2/1 flying creature at that point.
There's so many fairy decks out there. I mean, we do have.
I mean, there are. I don't know about so many, but there's many.
Have you seen one?
What, I have one. Yes, I have multiple Spellstutter Sprites. What are you asking?
No, that's not what I'm asking. Fairy decks. We did actually. That was a bad example because Guy was just playing one, and did you have an Alayla deck way back in the day? You did, didn't you? When it first came out?
I still have it. I still have it.
You killed decks. You still have it?
I still have that one. Yes. I think it's my oldest deck currently.
You know my favorite thing,
or maybe
almost favorite thing in Magic is when people think you're all tapped out and they can't do anything, and then you just turn them around and bend them over the fence, and they're just like, "What?" Like my favorite moments is Trombley freaking
Weird
out.
Analogy.
Because you're Pound Town.
I don't. No, I don't. Never done that.
When you're all tapped out, the best part is all tapped out. Boom! This is out there. Do you have that opportunity? You have to have two. Like that's the other thing is you got to keep two floating and just hope that the spell.
Can you counterspell a Mana Crypt? No.
Damn! I was hoping you wouldn't get to that point.
It has to be one.
It has to be one.
Has to be one.
The only downfall.
No, it's very specific. There are very good cards.
I can counterspell Soul Ring, Skull Clamp, Monovolt, Sensei's Top, Shadow Sphere, Commander's Plate, Basilisk Collar. That's just to name a few. You have Wayfarer's Bottle.
Spellstutter Sprite does that all as well.
For how much?
Very base Spellstutter Sprite.
For how much? For how
counters
much?
Everything that Mental Misstep does in a non-fairy deck.
So you're paying two?
Two.
Right? Okay.
To counter those spells that are very good.
What if none of those?
I agree. They're very good.
You tap out to like advance your take the biggest advantage of being good with your plane with your mana, and so you're trying to use up your mana.
You can leave up reactions when you're in a counterspell deck.
Oh, you're in a counter. How many counterspell
decks do you have? Of course. If we're running both of these cards, or we're trying to choose between these two in a blue
deck. How
deck,
many counterspells do you have? You would honestly play a spell.
How many do I have? I have hundreds, but I don't play them.
So you're telling me that you would go with a 2 mana drop counterspell of 1 or less over a 0 drop. A 0 drop that counters 1. You would take that?
Very base. Yours is just what it is.
But we're talking about a majority of decks.
Sprite can be built upon.
Right, but this can also be in those decks as well. Mine can go in so many more decks. I don't need to be specific to fairies or changelings. Like how many changeling decks are out there? And how many bounce?
I would assume there's a bunch of them.
And
people like changelings.
All of those decks, this can be in as well. But the good thing about Mental Misstep is it can be in more decks and doesn't have to be just tribal. It can be in anything that's blue.
How many of Mental Missteps do you have?
I just got a Beetle and Grimm's one. That one's freaking awesome. I have,
and it's still not in the deck.
Oh, good for you. Well, no, it has to stay in the safe. It's really expensive.
No. All right,
that's the wrong button.
Wrong button.
That was the blowout one.
Right.
There isn't.
I don't know. Oh, it was this one. There we go.
Oh, good for you.
Forgot that one.
There really
wasn't.
So
I'm just saying. Mine stays on the field. It can chump block. Like it can flash come into play and block. Can yours block?
That matters so much in Commander.
It does for me. And you. Surprise blocking is important. Surprise. I'm sure you're going to love countering that giant growth from Mental Misstep.
I already named the ones that it's going to counter.
If somebody's attacking you for the win,
I only
going to kill you, and you have a Mental Misstep in your hand or a Spellstutter Sprite, and you can block and live.
Oh, so you're adding the
or
blocking.
you have a misstep.
If you're about to lose, the Spellstutter Sprite is not going to save you. You're going to lose.
That is a very defeatist attitude.
The Crater Hoof is going right
you
through
shouldn't
that,
just
that
give
Sprite.
Well, no, I didn't put in how you were dying.
Well, I am. If you're adding a scenario, I'm adding to your scenario. We got to paint this picture. We're going to put a nice little bush right over here. I don't know. I'm drinking. And you're
Adam
not.
Ross?
Yeah, Adam Ross. Oh, I got it. I was
Ross?
like, you got his name wrong. I was like, oh, you're calling me Bob Ross. I got it. That's where I was going with it, too. Good job.
All right.
Hey, you're witty when you're not drinking. I like you. All right. You guys can vote for this on the community tab on YouTube. That is the only place. That is the only place you guys can vote for this. So make sure you guys jump on YouTube. Check that out. We will announce the winners next week. That should do it for this week. We are under 2 hours. We will catch you guys next week.
Thanks for listening.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
I love boobs. I'm talking tatas. I love boobs. I'm bonkers for honkers. I love
water
boobs.
for like a
Thanks
half
for the
hour.
memories. I love boobs.
I saw you took a sip and then you're like, nope, there's nothing there.